Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever video here on the Misplay LLC channel. Finally getting around to pulling the trigger and making a video, seeing how far that gets me. Very new to the whole idea, so not really going to have any editing on this. I'm just going to do kind of a one shot, one take, hope it all works out. But no better thing for me to talk about than probably the character most people know me for, which is Toga.III, character I put a lot of time into, especially compared to the other characters in the game. Have close to 150 games easy just playing this character, and recently, actually just a few weeks back, finished top 4 in the first Webcam Circuit with her. This video I'm going to go over my current list for her, which is pretty much the list I ran for the circuit, with a couple of changes made just from how I felt during the event. And unlike most other Toga.3s you'll see in Top Cut, well, we had one Top Cut just this last weekend at St. Louis, but most people you see playing her on Chaos, I actually take her more on the Life route. And yeah, just going to go over the list, go over some of the cool ideas and reasons why I think Life may have maybe a little bit of an edge over Chaos, or maybe it's just a viable option alongside it. So yeah, for those that don't know, I'm sure many do, Toga.III is a 6 hand size 20 health character with the Chaos, Death, and Life symbol. First ability is a nice little response that after you play a weapon attack, your rival commits 1 foundation. So we get response speed stun 1 on every single weapon attack we play, which commits boards fairly quick when you start combining it with attacks that actually have the stun, of course. Bread and butter for her stat giving is just going to be that second ability there, the enhance, that if this first attack you have played this turn, it gets +3/+2 damage. And giving that just allows you to actually make your first move very threatening. Kind of fits the whole game plan that I like to play, which is try to play 1, maybe 2 moves at most, just to early on try to snag momentum, build up your resources, and go from there. And going off of that, the way you build up the resources by hitting with that 1 or 2 moves is just by going response once per turn. After your attack deals damage, you may add 1 card from your discard pile to your momentum. So this is really good for both Life and Chaos, mainly because they get access to things like Black Abyss. You have things like Deception Dagger that comes from her kit, obviously, that just obviously fits well into all 3 symbols. But yeah, now that we've gone over the character, we can quickly get into the list. So this is my current take on the character. This is probably 98% close to what I ran at the circuit. I bumped up a couple of the ratios, and I'll mention those as I go through, but we'll start off with the attack lineup. So first attack, this recently got changed from a 4-0 down to a 3-0 just because I feel like it's not as neat as it was early on in Toga's lifespan. So it's Twirling Needle, 3 high for 4 on a 4 diff. Comes in, this attack is always considered your first attack, so it's kind of the whole way that we actually get extra value out of Toga's Enhance. Those I'm sure know. You basically can play this 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, anytime you want, and you will always be able to give it that 3/2. So in reality, as long as your character is ready, this attack is always a 6 high for 6. And it has a nice little enhance that if it deals damage, your next attack gets +2 speed. So it's really good for chaining into things. You can chain into a move that you really just want to hit, whether you're doing a powerful it out like a Gouging Needle, or just making sure your next, if this one is blocked, or partial blocked, your next one for sure will be getting in. Next up, we have probably the character's most notorious card, the one with her face on it that came from the same set. We have Deception Dagger, a 5 diff, 2 mid for 5. With stun 2 on it, so in reality in Toga.III this is going to be a stun 3 move most of the time. We have Enhance, remove 1 card in your rival's discard pile. This attack gets +X speed, X equals the remove card's block modifier. Very good Enhance going into the current meta. Rodan's running around everywhere right now and loves to play those high block mods, so you can easily give this thing +4 speed sometimes and help combat that speed negation that he has just a little bit. It's also really good just because it's target removed from a discard pile, so we have combined firepower running rampant right now, so just being able to remove that while getting 3 speed and saying your rival doesn't have access to one of them for the rest of the game can be pretty huge, and honestly helps a lot with like the King Ghidorah, other characters that want to use that combined firepower a lot. It's also got the momentum enhance that you can flip it from your momentum to give your current weapon attack stun to. So this card, this is how you commit outboards. This card on turn 2 also can just sometimes like set the momentum going fully in your direction. You just go turn 2, play this on a 5, check a 5 hopefully, obviously. Respond character, stun 1, go ahead and stun 2. You've now committed 3 foundations. Give it 3/2 with Toga, making it a 5 mid for 7. And then remove usually the most average will probably be a +2 block mod, so you give it an extra 2 speed. So you basically have played a 5 diff 7 mid for 7 on turn 2. And odds are your rival probably only built 4 or 5 foundations, so they have 2 things to actually use, maybe 3 if they have a character up, to try and block it. If they block it, hopefully maybe you have a 4 diff you can string out, or you can just build out and be content with what you did. They had it, sometimes they just draw it. But yeah, can cause huge thing just chunking someone for 7, getting this stun 2 for your next turn, and also snagging whatever useful attacks you may have had in the discard pile already. Next up is one of the cards life gets that Chaos doesn't. It's Piercing Needle. Love this card. It started off as a 4 of when I first started playing the character after she came out, and it's been slowly moving down to a 3 and a 2 of. It was 3 for the circuit, and I think I dropped it down to 2 and put the 4th Deception Dagger in after the event. Card's really good. Has EX3, Deadlock Stun 3. That Deadlock Stun 3 is one of our main deadlock breakers. Like, one of the best ways to try and counteract Toga is just build a ton of foundations. So having access to this sometimes just says, hey, I have stun 4, so that's going to knock out 4 of your high number of foundations and go from there. The X3 is also very underrated because sometimes, let's just say, like, you don't have a good good face-up momentum card in your discard pile and you really want to get that extra value. You can, for instance, use Deception Dagger, flip it, give this attack stun 2, use your stun 2, go ahead and EX3, getting rid of the now face-down Deception Dagger. And odds are this attack is, after getting the 3 speed and any other stats you were able to give it, it's probably going to hit, and if it hits, you can go ahead and respond Toga, grab that Deception Dagger back for either to use on the next attack, or you can save it and have it just for next turn, and you essentially got 3 speed for the cost of not plussing a momentum off the interaction. But yeah, the response is a very cool momentum effect. It is, after your unblocked attack deals damage, your rival loses 2 health. This can kill people, and some people don't realize that. And I have won many games just by the fact that someone thought they were going to live at 1 or 2, and then I just go Toga response, grab Piercing Needle, ask them if they have any responses, and when they pass again, you just respond because it's the same response window, and burn them for game and move on to the next one. Next up is another card that life gets over Chaos, which is going to be Net Launcher. It's the new secret rare from the Girl Power set, and it can be very hit or miss. That's the reason that's running at a 2 of right now for me. It gets big, though. That's the easiest way to put it. The first enhance on this card is going to be commit 3 face-up foundations. So it does specify face-up, so we can't use face-downs, which makes it a bit tricky. But if you do, this attack gets plus 3 speed, plus 6 damage, and gains stun 2. So this, just like Deception Dagger, becomes a stun 3 move in our character. And it gets very big, very fast. So just playing this first, which I highly recommend not playing it later in a string unless it's just you needed another attack. There are worlds where you would use that commit 3 after not playing this first, but it basically opens you up to big backswings if you're not actually getting the job done. That said, giving this thing plus 3, plus 6, and then if it's your first move, giving it an additional plus 3, plus 2 for a total of 6 speed and 8 damage, it gets very big very fast. If you start combining it with the card we're going to talk about next, Black Abyss, there have been times I've gotten this move just because I see my opponent has no speed resets. I've made this thing as big as like an 18 mid for 23 damage in conjunction with Black Abyss and just its own effect and maybe some foundations from stage. The other enhance is pretty cool. It actually helps a lot with getting sometimes you may not have 3 face-ups, so it can actually build in one for you if you need it. You can spend one of your momentum, which we'll usually have a plenty of, to build any one foundation from your discard pile, and then you choose a foundation in your rival's discard pile and do the same for them. So usually it's a fake gift, sort of like you just get your best thing and you can give them a spam foundation that doesn't really impact anything in the game right now. It's just one more resource, but net neutrals in the end. Very cool card. I like it. I don't think I would play it at more of a 2 of. You don't ever really want to see multiples, and when you do find the one, it usually feels like it's enough if it was needed. Next, probably the other card from Girl Power that both Life and Chaos get to share, making them very strong. Card that Jiki likes. Any momentum character that can cheat momentum is going to love this card. We have Black Abyss, a 5 diff, 5 low for 6. With the enhanced, if this attack deals damage, your next check play is an attack gets +1. So it just helps you with stringing. You can sometimes go Black Abyss into Deception Dagger and just check 2 5s and be happy. But the real enhance on this card is the enhanced momentum effect. Once per turn, this attack gets plus X speed and plus X damage, X equaling the number of Black Abyss momentum. So 1 Black Abyss, you get 1/1, 2 Black Abyss, 2/2, etc., all the way up to 4. This giving both speed and damage is a big no-no in my opinion. This card is crazy. If Like I said, it's not crazy outside probably of Jiki and Toga.III. But in those two characters who can pretty much guarantee get this to momentum once they find it, this is just impending doom. Eventually, you'll be able to give +16/+16 to your moves over an attack string if you get all 4 of them into momentum. And I mean, I've gotten 3 into momentum as early as the end of turn 2 or start of turn 3 sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. And it definitely feels like a lot. This card's very good just in conjunction with like Piercing Needle and the card that comes up next, Gouging Needle, which is the powerful 3 move, and then Piercing being the EX3. If you're just trying to finish off your rival, you can easily just pump all of them into this, assuming they don't have any resets, of course. And then just EX all your momentum away and say, hey, there's no way you're blocking this move, or powerful, there's no way that after giving this thing 9 speed and powerful 3ing it that you're going to survive past this. Very good card, definitely gave Toga.III the bump she needed to become a little bit more competitively viable. Next we have Gouging Needle. Originally when I first played this character, did not like this card. This card is now probably my 3rd favorite card in the deck behind Deception Dagger and Black Abyss. This card just kills people. Very blank move, but short, sweet, and to the point, it gets the job done. It's a 5-low for 4 with just powerful 3, like I said. This card, yeah, it just kills people. You print momentum so free, so you're easily giving this thing 9 damage, sometimes just off its powerful alone. Any ways you give it speed, whether it's from hitting with a Twirling Needle before or using Black Abyss, it just kind of goes off. 0 high block is also very, very good. Helps with some random blocks. You can just get 1 more block off that your rival's not accounting for because they don't really account for the +0. After that, we have Instant Shining Flash, a reprint in Girl Power from way back in set 1. Always love this card. Life's low blocks have always been suspect, and this was always one of the best ones. So I was sad to see it rotate, and then very happy to see it come back. It is a 4 high for 4 with the enhance. You can flip a foundation. The next card you try to play this turn gets a -1 difficulty. So just like similar to Black Abyss, just helps you with your stringing outs and everything for a pretty minimal cost, if anything. And the real cool thing about this card, the response after you play this card, whether it's as an attack or block, your rival spends 1 momentum. So it just helps a lot with dealing with other momentum decks. Sometimes if they are playing, they only have like 2 or 3 Black Abyss, let's say it's a G-Key, it just says discard 1 of your Black Abyss, and etc. etc. With Toga, if they for some reason only have face-up ones with relevant effects, it just hits value there. Otherwise, just hitting a momentum never is bad. It's just denying your rival resources for any attacks they may have used that thing for. Quickly go through the assets. It's just a 1/1 split of Airy and Idune's box. Airy, just a good card. I've always been attached to this character. It says your rival needs 1 more move. That's good enough for me to want to keep playing it. The static effect of readying 1 non-unique asset or foundation at the end of the turn is pretty good. Lets you, in conjunction with Idune's box, which we'll talk about real quick, you can commit return an attack to its sprint speed, just completely reset a move. If it's unblockable, blockable, back to its zone, speed and damage. Commit it, you can sometimes use it after they use a lot of speed hate on yours and have the Airy just re-readied at the end of your turn so that you can have it for defense as well. Just these 2 cards. I mean, I put any life deck I usually build, I usually try to play at least 1 of each of these. If not, I'll probably cut the Airy. And then I play a 1 of Dark Tournament Looms in the main board. This card's something I've been coming around to more and more, and I'm probably going to maybe bump it up to 2 in the near future. It's card draw on the life symbol is a little bit more. You have to work for it. We have Dangerous Combatant, which we'll talk about when we go through the foundations, but that requires rival to have something done. You have Curious About Quirks, which requires your rival to do stuff. Card draw is not the easiest thing to find, and this card basically says draw 1 attack and then 1 more mystery card, and that, yeah, just being able to add any attack I want from my momentum back to my hand is pretty good. You can pseudo use Toga.III as a tutor if you find this in your hand. You can play your first move, hit, grab any attack you want, and then just play this on your second attack, and then have a 3rd follow-up attack that you essentially tutored from discard. Very good card. I have 1 more in the sideboard just to cut out for an asset if I feel like it's not needed for the matchup. We'll move over to the foundations real quick. The spam foundations, we have a 3/1 split on keeping Airy safe and surprising skill. This is essentially the most of the stun hate we're going to play in the list. Keeping Airy safe, bread and butter, stun hate, just after it's committed to its effect from your rival, just re-ready it. Nice and easy, simple. That's what we need. 2 mid blocks, pretty helpful. 5 check. And then I do the 1 of surprising skill instead of a 4th keeping Airy safe. Just randomly comes up. Sometimes making your rival, having the ability to make your rival commit something instead of re-readying 1 of yours can be the difference between them keeping their string going or ending their turn with a build. or just rewriting yours can be enough to get you that one more block you need. Very good card. Block mod is atrocious, but we take what we take. I have 3 copies of the number 10 Pro Hero, just a blank 6-check. Love this card. 1 high block. It's incredible with incredible display, to say the least. This, along with the next card, Syndicate Target, which is another blank 6-check, but with a +0 low block. You do lose 1 health with blocks, but that's very minimal whenever you're usually blocking a big Walk the Dog or some other crazy low attack with it. These 2 cards, in conjunction with the incredible display we'll go over in a second, is kind of the bread and butter of defense. It's how we're able to play aggressive on offense and only hold 2 or 3 cards and be able to block 3 or 4 moves sometimes. First one diff we have in the spam departments is the Dangerous Combatant I mentioned earlier. Draw's pretty tight in life. You have to kind of work for a lot of it, or it's kind of reliant on the rival having certain things go wrong. With this, it's a enhanced flip. If your rival has more foundations committed than ready, draw 1 card. So early on, it's very good. It's, like I said, just playing a Deception Dagger, Stun 3 can sometimes be half their foundations on turn 2, and you can just draw off that. However, later game, once they start getting to 8+ foundations, you start having to work a little bit more to actually get this online. First bit of speed hate we have is going to be Fast Friendship. With the enhanced flip, this attack gets -2 speed. If you have more face-down foundations than your rival, this attack gets -3 speed instead. So yeah, it's life symbols. Speed hate is probably one of its biggest draws. We just have a ton of good cards that flip and give -2 to -3 speed. One card I'm not playing that's another example of this is Cooperation Offer, which is in the sideboard. Just more flips, -3 speed, try to block their moves. Curious about quirks, we have another draw effect. Just after your rival plays a character ability, response flip, draw a card. Nice and simple. Okay, mid block, not great. Card's just there to try and get it to say, hey, I can play a little bit more aggressive, and if you use your character, I'll be able to go even. After that, we have another one of the reasons I really like playing Life over Chaos. We have access to Stalking Her Prey. More response flip, -3 speed hate. So it helps in the defense department, but the main thing I love about this card is the Toga enhanced flip, remove a momentum, add a card from discard pile to momentum. This card lets you do some aggressive plays. You can use, let's say I have 3 Black Abyss, I can use one of the Black Abyss, discard the momentum to an effect with whether it be EX or Powerful or Net Launcher, and then I can Stalking Her Prey, get rid of a face down momentum, and grab that Black Abyss right back, and have it be used again for +3/+3 on a future attack or the current one. It's a very good card, lets you do some very neat plays. You can tutor up Piercing Needles whenever you feel like you just need, they're not blocking and you need that 2 more damage. A lot of interesting interactions you can do, a lot of thinking you can do with it too. Love this card. Riku Agency Trainees is a 2 of, kind of more in here, just like I said earlier when I was looking at the attacks. Low blocks for life cannot kind of be suspect. A +2 low block is great, and both the responsibilities are both relevant enough to matter enough. Response commit after an attack is blocked, build the next foundation you play. Sometimes they just block your first one and you can build in a Death Maneuvers or a Without a Vision, some sort of card like that that just adds more stats to your board or finds you more cards or just helps with things in general. The Deadlock response commit after your attack is blocked, your rival commits 2 foundations. I mean, we're Toga. We want to commit as many foundations as possible. If they're in deadlock, committing 2 of those out of the deadlock helps with the end goal of committing the board out to try and kill them. Yeah. So I play 4X Incredible Display. Like I said earlier when we were talking about the 0 diffs, this card is how we were able to play aggressive on offense while being kind of low in hand size on defense. Just basically says, commit discard a momentum after your rival plays a non-character responsibility, cancel it. Genkai's Guidance, cancel it. Any other annoying response, cancel it. It's very good. We almost always have a momentum to use, so as long as we have these up, your rival actually has to think about it. The main response you'll probably use a lot is going to be after you block with a foundation, commit, add that card back to your hand. So yeah, we can use our +1s and +0 block mods a lot more than we honestly should be allowed to, probably. Next up, Death Maneuvers. It's our deadlock. It's how we keep ourselves out of deadlock when it matters, while also having a good deadlock effect itself. It's also another +1 high block, so whenever we hold it, it can be very good for incredible display. But yeah, first enhances Destroy Foundation. Weapon attack gets +1 speed, +1 damage. Nice, simple, and sweet. Great stats, good synergy. Deadlock enhance, your weapon attack gets +1 speed, +1 damage. So yeah, rival goes to deadlock. This essentially represents +2/+2 on every single weapon attack we could want to play. Very good card. 3 of, probably could play it out of 4 of. You just may not need 4 of them, to be honest with you. I like playing a 1 of Masho Concealment. It's on the life symbol. It's the only symbol of this card that Toga gets. And response commit after your rival plays an enhanced ability on a foundation, cancel it. It's good enough to be a one of. It's very niche. Sometimes it's just one of the first things I commit on an attack string when I check bad. But whenever your rival does have a relevant enhanced ability, it matters. Being able to cancel stuff is something that a lot of times players will forget about because it will just be sitting in their stage and they're not really concerned with it until it comes up. It's just good. 3 of Kiko's Aid. Another card like gets over Chaos. This is where more of the defense comes in. Just being able to response flip after I block an attack. Your rival's next attack gets plus difficulty. Excuse me. Early on, pretty much essentially in strings. Later on, makes your rival have to think about it a little bit more. And if they check badly, that's the main way Toga ever kills, is backswing whenever your rival overcommits. So this card just helps with all that. Essentially, it adds plus 2 to their difficulty. If they were playing on a 5, it's on a 7 now. If they check a 5, they commit 2. You essentially had stun 2 on their turn, which it's a pretty good exchange. Stun 2 is kind of like the happy medium you want with most of your attacks that you have. Another card from Girl Power we have in here is Fruit Tart Gourmand. I love this card. It's probably my second or third favorite foundation from the set, right behind the next card we'll talk about Without a Vision. Enhanced Commit, change this attack zone to high. You can use this both on offense and defense. And then if this attack is completely blocked, build the top card of your deck face down committed. Sometimes in this deck, early builds can be a little bit rough. Like I've won some games on as many as 7 foundations. Sometimes you draw heavy gray and you go deep into deadlock. This card on those games where you're not really drawing a ton of foundations just helps you kind of build out. You can make one of their attacks high that you probably weren't going to block before and just go ahead and block and snap a free foundation essentially. Lastly, we have 2 of Without a Vision. Love this new card. 3 diff, 5 check, form, commit, discard a card as cost. Draw 1 card, your rival's next check this turn gets a -2. And then the main thing about this card that I love is the Deadlock Enhance. Your rival's next check this turn gets -1. So yeah, form's very good. You can early on form, discard, get rid of, let's say you have an attack heavy hand, get rid of a good maybe face-up momentum effect that you didn't already have in the discard pile. Play another attack, and now you have cleared 2 attacks out of your hand. Hopefully, after discarding the first one, you've drawn another foundation to build. And if you do hit with your move, you have a good card in your discard pile to go ahead and grab with Toga response. The Deadlock Enhance is one of the main determinants we have to try and keep our rival from wanting to go to Deadlock and try to just outvalue us. Giving basically breaker 1 to every single card they want to play that stacks. So let's say I'm using it on offense and I go Deadlock Enhance, your next check gets -1. They don't block or anything, and then I do it on the next attack. Their next check now is -2. Just keep stacking until they actually try to do something. But at the worst, it's usually just going to be breaker 1 on pretty much every card they try to play. We can quickly go through the sideboard. Like I said earlier, I have one more Dark Tournament Loom. Sometimes if someone's playing a lot of hackers, I'll probably side out one of the Airy mainly instead of the box, just because box actually probably has more value long term, just so that they have less things to relevantly flip, and it's a better draw in that situation. We have 2 Lost in Thoughts just to try and deal with any pesky decks that are really relying on a foundation, like maybe a Byakko with Tiger Scream and stuff. This card kind of just slows them down one more turn and says they don't get it for that 1 attack string. 2 Cooperation Offer, which has the enhanced flip that I talked about earlier. Return this attack to its printed zone. This attack is -3 speed. Don't believe there's a way for us to ever use the second enhance, so we'll kind of just ignore it. But yeah, it's just more speed hate for the decks that are just pumping a ton of speed like Rodan and stuff that we may want. We have Vast Strength at a 2 of, which is just a very good defensive piece that Life gets access to. The response for move after an attack is played, it loses all non-keyword abilities. So just completely blank a move, say that Twisting Azure doesn't have its enhances, any scary attack. It's really good if you are trying not to go into deadlock and you can just build this, go to 11, and then as soon as they play an attack, respond, remove it, blank their move, and then also say no deadlock enhances. So it doesn't come up often, but it's another cool thing you can do with it. And then I have 3 Gory Stabs in the sideboard. This card is a weapon, so whenever we do side it in, it still kind of fits well into Toga. It also has a face-up momentum effect, which can be very good at times. Like losing 3 health can be a steep cost, depending on what your health total in the matchup is, but being able to blow up a foundation, they will still get the effect that one time, but being able to blow up like any of their cards that say destroy a foundation for stats or something like that, it's pretty good just shutting it off for the rest of the attack string. Cool thing about this card is it's just really good for the other momentum decks that we may run into, other Togas, maybe Jiki. Response after your rival blocks this attack, they discard 2 momentum. So play it as your first move sometimes on a poke turn, it's going to get +3/+2, so it's a 5 high for 7 that says, hey, if you block this, you have to lose 2 of your cool momentum. Sometimes they just take 7. Sometimes Jiki's forced to use his minus damage on it for his once per turn. It's just good value in certain matchups, so I like it as a 3-of in the sideboard. But yeah, that said, I hope everybody enjoyed the little deck profile I did. Absolutely love the character, love playing this deck, and I hope y'all enjoy the video and look forward to more to come. Alright, catch y'all later.